2020 is a crazy year so far. Welcome everyone to this month's market update. Hope everyone is doing well. Nathan here. And at the beginning of every month, I'm going to be doing this type of video, which is a big picture overview of everything that's going on right now. 2020 is turning out to be a crazy year so far, so I do think it's important to keep an eye on the big picture to see what's going on, have time to reflect, and then hopefully we can all improve as investors. So here is what we've got coming up. We're first going to look at the asset class performance of 2020 so far. So we're going to be looking at stocks, bonds, property, gold, silver, cryptocurrency. How has everything performed so far to date? We're then going to look at the macro economy big picture and then finish with some of the top stories of last month. If you find anything useful in this video, be sure to click that like button. That would be much appreciated. Okay, so first up, we're going to look at the asset performance of 2020 so far. But first, I just need a very important piece of essential hardware. Cheers, guys. So let me just draw up a quick chart, and on the left hand side we're going to look at the percentage increase decrease, and across the bottom we're going to be looking at the commodities index, GSCI, looking at cash, looking at the 10-year treasury for bonds, S&P 500 for stocks, real estate house prices, gold, silver and crypto. So commodities is the biggest loser, and this commodities index is down over 20%. So commodities taking a bit of a panning. Cash, I always include because this, as an investor, cash is always the one that we're trying to beat money in the bank. And this is always down due to inflation, negative 3%. Bonds, so bonds are at a record low and they're only yielding about 0.5%. S&P 500 for stocks has just broken into positive territory, and this is up just 1% now. Real estate, property, interestingly, is actually doing very well considering what's going on. So this is up between the US and the UK roughly 3 to 5%. So property right now is doing very good. Gold is almost setting all-time highs. So gold is doing really well. It's now up 30% for the year. Silver, obviously, I just did a recent video on silver. I'm a big fan. And silver is up 37% now. So silver's having a great year. But the big winner, again for the second month running, is cryptocurrency. So cryptocurrency has gone up 76% year to date. So how has your portfolio weathered? So as investors, we always want to keep an eye on our asset allocation. So how much are we assigning to each of the different asset classes? Touch wood, I'm actually quite pleased because I did allocate quite a lot to silver and cryptocurrency, and they are the biggest winners this month. This year to date. But it's always good just to reflect and just see how is your portfolio doing. So to take a look at the economic overview, the macro big picture, the KPIs that we're going to look for are how many people are employed and also how is the economy growing or contracting. So first up, we're looking at the unemployment rate. Looking at the US because it's the global leader, so I typically look at the US for most things. And unfortunately, we've had this pretty much steady rate all the way across about 5%. But obviously recently it has jumped and spiked up, and it spiked up to almost 15%. It has come down a bit, but we do have record high unemployment. Next up, how is the economy growing? Well, unfortunately, the second quarter GDP has just come in, and it's plunged, worst ever, 32.9% amid the pandemic. So the US economy suffers its worst period ever in the second quarter GDP. Neither the Great Depression, nor the Great Recession, nor any other slump in history of the past 2 centuries has caused such a sharp drain on the economy. So luckily, CNBC also drew up this chart, which is really, really useful. It's all the big booms and busts of the last over 100 years. So we can see there was a big downturn in 1921, and it only went down 28%. We had the Great Depression here. So this is one of the biggest depressions in history, and it didn't go down as much as this quarter. Also, World War II. So even a world war here only contracted 10%. So you can see the drop that we've just experienced here is unprecedented. In fact, we may never see a drop this bad ever again in our lifetimes, which is crazy if you think about it. And obviously this is the biggest cause. We are in the midst of a global pandemic, and you can see it started pretty much at the very, very start of this year, but the trend is pretty bad. It's been growing, and unfortunately it's still getting worse from new cases. And then the death rate, which is probably even more important. Obviously, it had this huge spike. It was coming down for quite a long time, but then the worrying trend is that it's back on the rise as it's following the new daily cases. So we can definitely summarize the economic picture. We're definitely in an economic winter. That is the current season. And finishing up with some top stories. The 10-year Treasury yield for bonds has plunged to its lowest level in 234 years. So bonds is where most of the money is, so we do want to keep an eye on the bond market. And lowest in 234 years is crazy. We've obviously got stimulus going on around the world. So another stimulus package coming out in America. So people just getting dished out free money. Same in the UK, same in many other countries. Stimulus is going on everywhere. And the problem is, how long can we keep dishing out free money? And are people actually going to want to go back to work if they're getting free money? And also, who's going to pay for this money? Someone's got to pay for it, and it's going to be the taxpayer. So likely, taxes will be going up. Now, I do want to cover some news on cryptocurrency, because as you saw, cryptocurrency was the best performing asset class this year. So as investors, we do want to keep an eye on crypto, because a lot is happening. Here's some of the top stories. The US moves closer to a digital dollar. So there's meetings going on in the Senate about creating a digital dollar. We have China to test a digital yen, focusing on food delivery initially, but they're creating their own digital yen. Bank of Japan will begin experimenting with a digital yen. So the Bank of Japan is also creating their digital currency. So as you can see, you've got the US, you've got China, you've got Japan, and these are just the ones that we know about. But the theme is all of the big governments around the world are creating their own digital cryptocurrencies. We then have big institutions getting on board. So there was a big story about banks in the US can now offer crypto custody services. So banks are going to be able to start offering crypto services. We all have obviously heard of PayPal, and PayPal is looking into starting to sell cryptocurrency directly, which would change everything. Then on the Visa website, Visa advancing our approach into digital currency. So they go on to say the concepts of digital currency or a digital version of cash controlled by a private key. This was created more than a decade ago with the launch of Bitcoin, and today fiat-backed digital currencies, commonly referred to as stable coins, have emerged as a promising new platform innovation. So basically, Visa has been working closely with Coinbase, and Visa is going to start getting on board with cryptocurrencies. So you can see the theme there. We've got the banks, we've got PayPal, we've got Visa. This is a huge trend into cryptocurrencies. And lastly, not all companies have been doing really, really bad. There's also been some big winners. Amazon posts biggest profit ever at height of the pandemic. So on Thursday, they posted their biggest profit in a 26-year history for online sales. So e-commerce is absolutely booming right now. This is the 1-year snapshot for Amazon, and as you can see, in the last year, the Amazon share price has done very well. And obviously the next big story is for Tesla. So as we all know, probably, Tesla has had an amazing year. They might now start getting included in the S&P 500, which has ramped up their share price. But to be honest, I'm a big fan of Elon Musk. I do like Elon and electric cars and the whole business. So fair play, all the best to Tesla. And let's keep an eye and see how they do in the next quarter. So there you are, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this month's market update. I hope your portfolio has been able to weather the storm so far. As mentioned, I will be doing these updates once a month, so we can all keep an eye on the big picture. So be sure to look out for next month's video. If you found anything in this video helpful, be sure to click that like button. That would be much appreciated, as it really helps out the channel. If you haven't yet subscribed, be sure to click that subscribe button below. I do have some great videos coming up. And any questions or comments on this month's update, then just post them below this video. Later in the week, I do have some videos coming out on the bond market and also on index trackers, so look out for those. Okay, cheers guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.